There's a little background noise. I don't know if that's wind or something.
Let me try this.
Lilimar. Okay. Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
I'll put it
Cool,
on
cool,
when I
cool.
speak.
Yeah. Okay. No
Okay.
problem.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Okay, well, it says we are live. I'm not sure if there's anyone in the audience, but I'm just going to start talking
Mhm.
because, I'm Marcella Cortland. I'm a commercial actor, film producer, mostly horror. That's my screen name. My other official serious name is Linda Olson, but we're here with creators, so we're going to be creative. and my astrological sign is Aries. We're not very, I just had a birthday a couple days ago. We're
Oh,
not
happy
very
late birthday.
patient. Thank you.
Happy late birthday.
Thank you. I celebrate all month, so it's fun.
Yeah.
And we're not very patient people. And so when there's a Zoom, I'm always kind of and I'm a participant, I'm always on the edge of my seat, pins and needles, and nothing's happening because they're waiting for tech or whatever, people to log in. And I'm just okay, I'm just going to talk and entertain people. And hopefully we'll see when there's an audience. I can't really tell right now. But, I think I've been spending way too much time with tech these days. I was on a Zoom call with a lawyer the other day, and at one point she started moving her mouth, literally, she was clearly talking, but there's no sound coming out. So I said, "Hey, I think you're on mute." She looked straight at me and said, "No, I wasn't saying anything. I was just talking to myself in silence." Cool. I tell you, that really messed with my head. I was questioning reality for the next 6 hours. Please don't do that.
It's a bit very interesting hobby, I guess.
It was so weird.
I'm an actor. I talk to myself all the time, but not on Zoom.
Yeah, right. It was so strange. Yeah, and the other day, my voice assistant I told it to remind me to call my mom, and it replied, "Well, are you sure your mom wants to hear from you again?" And I'm like, "Okay, Alexa, stay in your lane. You play lo-fi jazz
Alexa
and
gives
tell
a
me the
little too much
weather."
attitude.
Yeah, you're not my therapist. But I must have raised my voice or something because she responded with, "Would you like to try a mindfulness exercise?" And then
Oh
she
my
sent me
gosh.
instructions on box breathing. Okay, so we have a couple of people saying hello. So let's see. I think we'll just chat a little bit longer until we get some more. Yeah, right. So you've heard that AI hallucinations, right? And but literally everything AI does is a hallucination. It's just predicting the next word. So when you ask it for a recipe or a love letter or legal advice, it goes, "Okay, let's get crazy with this." I told my AI my AI told me I graduated from Harvard and invented a gluten-free bread that cures anxiety. I was so convinced I started to believe it myself. But honestly, I went and Googled myself and it was wrong.
So you didn't graduate from Harvard. You just now found out. I'm so sorry.
Yes, that's right. I just found out. And I'm surrounded by people with PhDs, and I'm kind of an outlier because I don't have a PhD, but it makes me special, right?
I hope so.
Yeah. Yeah. It's people, I don't need to be judged. I have a cat that does that for me. Okay. Let us start. And I just want to say again, I'm Marcella Cortland. I'm so excited to be here for the Supra Live Creator Sessions. I have two incredible guests today. We have Lilimar Hernandez. She's a film and voice actress, the voice behind Val in Pixar's Inside Out 2 and Nickelodeon's newest villain in Thunderman's Undercover. From acting to voiceovers, she brings animated worlds to life like no other. Hi, Lilimar.
Oh, hello. Thank you for that lovely introduction. And pardon me being on the move and, a little glitch here and there. I have an appointment I could not move, but I'm very happy to be here. And thank you for that lovely introduction.
Awesome. Well, life happens and we have to roll with it. We have technology to do that for us. We also have Alex Jackson. He is the CEO of Gemini Projects, working with icons like Rihanna and luxury brands like Prada. Now he's taking over the music booking space with his cutting edge approach. Alex, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. Hello.
So, why don't we start? Okay. Oh, there we are.
Yeah, there we go.
So why don't we start with Lilimar? Why don't you just introduce yourself briefly for us?
Hopefully it doesn't glitch too bad. But hi, my name is Lilimar. I've been working in film since I was 10 years old, practically. I was a former child star, and I started off on Nickelodeon, which was opportunity of a lifetime that I loved and learned a lot from. It's basically where I built my connections in Los Angeles and went from there. Voiceover came kind of like a happy accident later on and joined in with my first love, which was film. And now I've had a lifelong career of things like working with DreamWorks and Netflix. And now I've been moving on to mainly kind of animation, video games, and the film space, especially indies, and drama series. Kind of moved on from, Nickelodeon and Disney, even though I like to come and play with them every now and then because they're like family. So yeah, and now my newest venture is voice acting coaching. So that's been very enlightening as well.
That's all sounds amazing, and really have a long history of professional work behind you. That's so cool. So Alex, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey everyone. So I'm Alex Jackson, and I'm
Alex.
more so on the creative business end of things. My background over the past like 10 to 12 years, I began in the music business, then I hopped over into fashion. Now I'm kind of in the middle now, at the intersection of both industries. I kind of specialize more so on the partnership side of things, and I kind of connect like brands, within the fashion and entertainment space, with like talent, who are more so in the fashion and lifestyle niches. I've worked with like some really cool people over the years, like Lamza Ray, ASAP Rocky, on the influencer side of things, like names like Blake Gray, who've kind of all gone on to do great things. And it's good to be here.
That is amazing. Wow. Wonderful careers for both of you.
Thank you.
So let's just talk a little bit about Supra and the mission for the creator session. Supra, it's spelled SOOPRA, in case anyone's wondering. It's an innovative, groundbreaking platform that empowers anyone to build and share their own AI personas, designed to think, speak, and create like their human counterparts. Think of it as your digital twin who is always awake and ready to roll. At the heart of this movement are the Supra Creator Sessions, which are live showcases where creators, experts, and innovators explore the power of AI personas to create and scale their influence, share knowledge, and engage audiences 24/7. These sessions go beyond traditional webinars. They're dynamic, creative spaces where technology meets human expression. Whether you're an educator, artist, entrepreneur, or enthusiast, the creator sessions reveal how Supra is redefining what it means to create, teach, and inspire in the age of AI. Okay, so let's get back to your personal journeys. Lilimar, you did, touch on it for a bit. but I'd love to hear like how you got started as a child actor, and maybe discuss your major achievements, and also tell us about your plans for the future.
Ooh, okay. I think the first shout out is probably to my family because they were the first ones to notice that I was very artistically inclined. I come from a family of mainly medics and doctors, but I think the intersection there is that these are very highly empathetic, loving people that I think have such a love for humanity and understanding it and sometimes helping cure it. And I think I just kind of grabbed that in the artistic side. And so acting for me was something I stumbled upon. At first I did, modeling and, fun little pageants and nothing too. And I gravitate a lot towards music, which I still do within these same projects. And through that, I eventually ended up in this modeling school, and they happened to have like an improv class and a commercial class. That's the first time I ever did any kind of script, and I was like, "Oh, this is the business. Like, this is what I want to do." And I made that decision very clearly at 9 years old. Great time to choose a career for the rest of your life. And so it kind of started off there doing little things. I grew up in Miami, so there wasn't really much other than KFC commercials and print jobs. And so I did that. I did a soap opera. I did Sal Gigante, if there are any other Latinos in the chat. And so Nickelodeon was very much a what's for you is for you moment. They were looking for new talent, kind of new gen for Nick in 2013. And I happened to come across their desk. I went to their huge, like out of nowhere open call audition. Did not think I was going to get chosen for that. I thought it was a scam. It was not, luckily. And that's kind of where I was discovered. And with my family, I went over there little by little, auditioning and auditioning. I had my start with the Nickelodeon family, and everything else was kind of like, okay, let's try things. Wait, that worked out. That didn't work out. That worked out. I didn't know I liked voiceover. I like voiceover. And so I think it was LA kind of served as a platform to think bigger and dream bigger. And because I never saw myself being there that early in life, maybe in the first place. So now, yeah, very grateful to now kind of be at the point where I'm teaching kids that are going into it and seeing
Okay.
myself through them. Yes. Oh, did I glitch?
Sorry, you just froze up a little bit, and yeah,
Oh
please
no.
go ahead. Oh, so let me just ask you, so if you came from a family that were involved in medicine, how did they feel about you deciding on this career at such a young age?
They actually loved it. They were like, you know what? I brought you here so that you can grab the world and make it yours. They had the opportunity to study what they love, and they wanted the same for me. So they were just like, you know what? You seem like you know what you're doing. I had all my reasonings back then. I was like, I think this is great. I like the audition process. I think this is great for character. Da, 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 da. And they're like, listen, kid, you have a laundry list of reasons. I trust you. I will be there for you. I'll protect you where I need to, and we'll go on this journey with you. And they've learned with me. So
That's that is amazing to have such a supportive family, and I have to say I'm impressed that you say you like the audition process. Like that is my least favorite thing about
I
acting.
know.
Another self-tape.
I think I liked getting to perform, especially if you're not booked on
Mm.
anything, and maybe there's not many school plays. Then that's your only place to really perform for somebody. So I kind of took it as like personality strengthening.
Oh my gosh, what a great perspective. I'm going to remember that next time I have to pull out the camera and direct and produce and all of that. So, Alex, tell us a little bit about your journey to where you are now.
So you know what? I definitely think that I pretty much like fell quite nicely into where I am today. I mean, in the very beginning, I began as a journalist, and I used to work for our newspaper back at home in Barbados, kind of like specializing in covering like entertainment and like pop culture. Like back then it was like Rihanna spotted here kind of thing, like Taylor Swift is going here, a bit of like pop culture gossip. Everybody's like going on tour. So I kind of like began in that space, and then I kind of like ventured a bit over into photography. Those two things kind of combined and worked quite well together. Um, and then I kind of left the newspaper after, I want to say it was maybe like a year and a half. And at that point, then this is like during the rise of like Rihanna in Barbados, and I was able to work with like her team directly on the marketing and advertising part of her career. I did that for a bit, with her. Back then, there was also a label called SRP Records. Um, and I was essentially doing a bit of like creative and art direction, for their artists as well. So I was like flying to like LA and Jamaica and New York and so on. Doing treatments and concepts for like music videos. So kind of how I ended up falling into the space within music, but definitely a lot more mainstream, a lot more like pop culture. Fast forward, enter college, did my internship at this like talent agency across the street from my school because I thought it was cool, and I also just had to like do something for my college credits. And then there, I would definitely say that I fell in love with the like world of like fashion. My boss at the time, she was incredibly amazing. And she really, like opened up my eyes, to kind of what like the global fashion scene kind of was. So I interned there for a while, and then like during this time, I was still doing a bit of like projects, for like the music marketing and photography as well. Then come graduate school, ended up landing a role at like Next Models back then. Um, kind of fell into being like a talent scout. From there, became like an agent for like women, men, and both women and men. And I booked models for probably around 6 years. And then our owners at the agency, they wanted to open up their like celebrity and like talent board. So just due to my experience with like music prior, I was kind of like a key part of that team. So we essentially like began that department like from the ground up, but then we were working with names like Ricky Thompson, like Manu Rios, Blake Gray, ASAP Rocky, Lana Del Rey, Billie Eilish. The list goes on and on and on, and I was just able to get like a really good grasp of what these like major names are like doing, not only within their respective roles, but back then in like comedy, music, film, and so on. But then how do we then translate that into projects within the fashion space? Um, so I always say, looking back, it's kind of funny because I never had any intention whatsoever of doing what I'm doing now. I wanted to become a chef, and I was going to culinary school in Paris, and then things just like completely flipped, and here I am now. And yeah, that's my kind of random journey that just all makes sense somehow.
That what a story. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, now I get the very cool
Mhm.
accent. You're from
Oh yeah,
Barbados.
Barbados. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, I have to ask you,
Mhm.
like that was a whole journey of gems there, but I just
Mhm.
have to ask you. So you actually know Rihanna then?
So funny enough, I mean, I get this question all the time, and we've had, like our unique interactions, So I mean, we have a very surface level kind of a relationship, but obviously like nothing too like intimate. But she's amazing, she's great, like love her, like so down to earth, and I think of everyone that I've met, within that space, she always like stands out as just a person who's like very sweet, very kind, very genuine, and like, I think also just like very respectful.
Okay, so she is as
Yeah,
cool as she seems in
Hun-
real
hun-
life.
100%. Yeah, yeah. I mean, like not everyone is as cool as you would think, honestly, but she's a good one.
I love that. Is she from Barbados as well
Mhm.
then?
Yeah, she is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's so cool. Um, Alex, since we're talking with you, why don't you tell us about your what are your plans for the future? Like, you've been on this amazing trajectory. Like,
Mhm.
what do you see? Like, are you going to go back to Paris at some point and go to chef school, or tell us about what your plans are?
I mean, so I think that right now, um, I I began in the music space, then I had quite a long run in the fashion space, and I think as of the past year and a half to 2 years, I've kind of been just trying to, like revisit, like my passion for like music and so on. So I think like right now, like I think my key goal is just really trying to find like new and innovative ways to cultivate partnerships between the talent that we work with within the music scene, and how can we like translate that to what brands want to do, on a much more like global scale. As far as it goes for our talent here on the music end of things, we kind of specialize more so on names of the electronic space. So we work with like Michael Bibi, another Pausa, Carlita, like Vulture. These like two like really cool guys from Italy. And then like right now, it's just trying to like figure out, like what are like the best brands that we're able to like pair them with, in a way that is organic and it makes sense. So is it a case where someone says, hey, we want to go and do like a cool like brand activation with like Don Julio down in Mexico, or maybe want to go to uh, like Qatar with like the royal family, and do like a cool experience over there. So I think just trying to find new ways of cultivating partnerships that push the boundaries of what really hasn't been done as yet. So that's kind of my, I think, like most immediate goal, for the future, like professionally at least.
Okay, so I'm getting the picture that,
Mhm.
like, you clearly see the world as your oyster. Like,
Oh yeah,
there's no
100%.
limitations. We're gonna go big.
Oh, 100%. I think that, you're only limited by your imagination, and I think people kind of put themselves in boxes all the time and say, okay, well, like this can't be done, but really and truly, it can once you just have that like specific mindset, where if you can visualize and have a great idea of what it is that you want to accomplish, and then like go go after that. I mean, I don't see why not, and I think especially now, you know people are so much more accessible with like social media, and ideas are are just a lot like more free. You can kind of like dream as big as you want, like if you want, you can be like, hey Elon, I want to go and do a concert in space, you know what I mean? And really and truly, what's stopping you from doing that? Nothing. You just have to have the idea and like and go after it.
I love that. So you're,
Yeah.
like, truly in the stars.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And how about you, Lilimar? What are your plans for the future?
I think now it's this year was very exciting, coupled with the next two, where it's a lot of new releases of stuff that projects that I've been working on for a very long time. That it's always kind of nice when finally you can talk about it. Finally, you can say you're on the
Ah,
cast. So it's definitely going to be. It feels almost like a new era for me because I've been working very behind the scenes in secret in a studio for a very long time, and it almost feels like now almost publicly I have gone through almost a personal journey to switching over to something that is not sitcom anymore, that is almost like the next step of my career, which is very fun. So it's been really really interesting seeing new spaces, kind of like the video game fandom space, and becoming a part of that, and just kind of seeing people interact with your work in a way that's so exciting and just kind of makes you think and pushes you to be better at what you do. Um, so I'm very excited for a lot of the new voiceover stuff that's coming out. And then I'm shooting almost this whole year for projects that more and more I'm like, whoa, I've never been put in this position. I can't wait to challenge myself that way as an actor. And everything kind of comes back to what I'm teaching my kids too. So it's all come to a point where like I never thought, like seriously, I would never tell you I'm teacher material. uh, I would never tell you that. Oh, like, oh, I ended up in like Pixar films, kind of to Alex's point, where it's like it's the limitations are in your mind. I think for me especially, it was very much like, well, I don't have a degree in this, I've never done that, I don't know people in that circle. And it's like, unless you go out and say, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it scared, and I'm going to do it with only 80%, 50% of the knowledge, you'll find out soon that, you're able to do these things actually and show off.
I love that. Yeah, just charge forward and just see what the universe has for you on the other side, right?
You kind of have to prove yourself wrong sometimes. I think we're our biggest critics a little too much of the
Absolutely.
time.
Yeah. And I understand what you're saying about like, uh, I produced a horror film that was shot in 2021 and wasn't released till 2024. And it's like three years later, you've forgotten about it. So I know that whole process. And if you can't tell anyone, if you've done this really cool thing and you can't tell anyone, that's must be really frustrating.
Sure, and if you're, especially if you're passionate about it, you want to tell people because you're working with
Yeah.
such great people, such great individuals. But you got to go with the process, and it's very exciting, I think, to leave kind of clues and to see people getting ready to accept the project, and just being a part of it, and then eventually just kind of gearing up for PR because that's a
Yeah.
whole other thing.
Right. It's a whole other animal. Do you attend the premieres of these films?
For things that I work on, I definitely try to be at all the festivals if we have those, all the premieres, the events that we can do. The more we can engage with, if it has a particular fandom, engage as much as we can with that. And the junkets, even though most are not even in person really anymore, like they used
Hmm.
to, junkets are still very fun. Sometimes you'll get press that really you can tell just appreciated what you did and like wants to pick your brain, and it's so fun kind of getting to do that and have further conversations about that because that's what art is for.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like I love attending the, premieres or any kind of promotional thing just because, well, you did all that hard work and it's such hard work to be involved in a film. And that's your opportunity to like share it and be excited and have people enjoy it and be in an audience. Like there's nothing like being in a live audience with live people in the dark, all sharing this experience of enjoying the entertainment that you help create. There's like nothing like that.
Yeah, and I think it's, what we love the most, or what I love the most, is the actual process of filming and shooting and recording. And we put our all into it. But then once it's released to the public, it's kind of like art that you've created and it's now out in the world. You've released it, and now it's going to become a new thing, depending on how people perceive it, the conversations they have around it. It kind of is I've learned to really love that process of just how many versions how many things people can learn from it, how many secret things they can find, how it affects their lives. Like it becomes that's the beautiful thing about how art is just malleable and is constantly shifting and transforming after you've done it.
That's so true. Yeah, like you said, you don't know how the audience is going to how culturally it will be accepted within the greater audience. So let's start like migrating to the idea of tech and AI. And I'm just curious as to like what you guys feel about the technology. We'll start with Alex. Like, is it a good thing? Is it not a good thing? Tell us your thoughts on like how AI is impacting your industry and your
Mhm.
relationship with it.
I mean, I think like anything else, all technologies can be good. It just depends on how you decide to use it. I mean, I think that AI is obviously very game changing. It's also pretty interesting timing as well. Like the moment that we're kind of having the conversation, because so today's Thursday, so I believe it was either Monday or Tuesday. Like H&M had announced that they were about to like start using AI, to pretty much like duplicate the looks of the talent that they're using right now as the models. And now they're kind of going to be entering into this phase, where like pretty much all of their well, or most of their advertising content, will be made by these AI duplicates of real world models. And based on what I've seen so far, like the actual talent, will still own the like IP, and like be compensated accordingly and so on. But I think, for example, even a case like that is so interesting because, while I definitely understand it from a production and like financing perspective, I think it then kind of, leads you into a bigger question and conversation of, okay, like, now what is really going to happen to the overall like creative process? Because, I think being within the space, and I think whether, like you're like a model, an actor, or an actress, like anyone within the creative spaces, obviously, yes, like money has to be made because it is a business, but I think people in those spaces do it like largely in part also for the passion, So I think also, just coming from a creative perspective, once you kind of put that um once I guess once you're gonna put that power into the hands of somebody else, and now you're able to kind of mold somebody else's image, like, right, what ends up happening to the overall craft itself, in the long run. And then also once you see like such a big company like H&M kind of like opening up the like door towards this, and then having talent actually agree, and they're like agents and managers and everyone like allowing this to like happen, and it'll obviously then like trickle down, and it's going to impact, like production, it's going to impact like styling, hair, makeup, like all these different things. So I think that, even that for instance is going to be a pretty interesting way um, of how we kind of move forward. So I think it's definitely kind of something to monitor and see how like that specific instance kind of goes. But I think that for me personally, AI is great. I mean, it doesn't do my job for me, but I think right now at least, I use it a lot, to help me like streamline my creative workflows. So if that's like just like throwing a bunch of ideas out the wall, for like a pitch deck, or just like brainstorming ideas between like myself and my chat GPT, like for me personally, I think that's kind of where it shines. And again, I think it really just depends on, like what is the intention. I think that AI should be used to make our lives easier and to kind of like help us, versus trying to like replace other individuals, but yeah, that's my 2 cents.
It's definitely great. Like for me, my favorite use is like the blank page syndrome. It definitely helps you kind of
Hmm.
get the creative process going,
Yeah,
doesn't it?
yeah, yeah, it does. Yeah.
So Lilimar, tell us your thoughts on AI and tech and like how you see it.
I think purely from a creative standpoint, because it's such a massive thing, right? And I feel like it's kind of seeps into being a tool that almost anybody can use, and it's used in different ways in different careers. So it's kind of like one of those things where like it feels overwhelming because it's just kind of still in its baby steps of rolling out, at least in terms of the general public. So there's so many things that a commoner in the space of tech, because I am not the person to talk about tech. It very much seems like I can't really give an opinion on other kind of things outside of the creative world. But creatively, I kind of agree with a lot of the points Alex made. And as an actor, especially, we had strikes over this. Writers had strikes over this. Um, a lot. I think it's kind of, we're sitting in a space where everybody's kind of sitting back, trying to figure things out and see how it comes into our space and how we get into its space. It's one of those things where I'm hopeful that I am a person that embraces change, so I'm hopeful that we reach the point where we have a balance between the two, where it really is a tool that helps facilitate, promotes accessibility, kind of. The point to facilitate things is great, but I think there are certain very specific things about the humanities, in particular about art, that is so innate to the person. It's not just we do this because I need to do this job. It's I do this because it's what I'm passionate about. I do this because I have something to say. Um, so, and how that is kind of accepted by the audience, I think at large, we've seen people just, they need that connection. They need to be reminded of humanity. They need to be reminded that they're not the only person that feels X, Y, and Z. I think there's something kind of untouchable and you can't copy in terms of kind of proper art that humans themselves make. But I don't think we're going to get to a great replacement of human beings and like robots coming in and whatever. I think it's just really finding how do we reach a balance, a respectful balance between tech and creativity and art. Because I think as human beings, we need both.
Yeah, absolutely. That is such a great point. And as a producer, you're always concerned about costs. It's all about the budget, right? It's always about like finding money and like, oh, don't no, oh, try not to go overtime and that kind of thing. And I've recently started dabbling in AI film creation. Just as a creator, it gives me a chance to put a story together with like it's like the budget is like a subscription fee, right, to the different platforms to put it all together. And so I've done a couple of those. They're not sophisticated, but they still tell a story for like instead of $10,000, it was maybe $40.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And okay, and I think it's so interesting as well because I think everything in the creative space has so much to do with just that emotional connection. Like you look at like a Coldplay or like a Taylor Swift, like why does everybody like relate to like Taylor Swift getting her heart broken and like creating this album that goes insanely viral and then like sells out. It's so because I feel like everybody can like relate on some way towards like the emotions that she as a person is like feeling and that she's able to communicate and transform into music. So I feel as far as it goes for the AI side of things, like you kind of get to to save to save in the amount of costs, but you're not really going to be able to, I think, like create that kind of like same emotional connection, that like a real human being is going to have, you know, um, using like AI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was watching something with Cameron Diaz on it, like an old film, I think when she did with Tom Cruise, and
Mhm.
like the camera was just on her face, a close up, and her micro expressions just told like like just told the whole story
Yeah.
just with these micro expressions. And I'm thinking, I don't know if AI, they'll
Mhm.
probably get there, but like to deliver, a message, a character just with your face is
Yeah.
like that's a real talent.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
and I think as well, especially for, like again, anyone that's like a model or like an actor or like an actress, it's like, like you have such an intense casting process, and I think also like you as a producer, as a director, like why is it that you choose like this person to be the lead in your role? Like they come in and there's something within them that like you see like yes like they're able to like memorize the script and do everything else but like they're able to really convey and like capture the image of the character that as a person doing the casting wants for that project, you know what I mean? And a lot of that is so like personal, and it varies from like individual to individual.
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
Lilimar, like you're with your voice acting, like tell us a little bit about AI and possibly are you worried that AI is going to come and like recreate your voice and use you in films in the future?
I think I'm not exempt from my fears of technology, and I try to kind of balance it because I'm fully understanding of the fact that since I'm not in the, there's so many blind spots, right? There's so many things that I don't know, and so many fears that may be like, oh my god, I'm gonna be replaced by a robot, and it's like somebody in tech might be like, no, that's not the point. But I was gonna mention too, because there is kind of a thing of if you are a fan of audiobooks or you read a lot of blogs, sometimes you may have the option to have somebody reading that to you, and it's one of those things where it's like I'm not really a big fan of AI kind of having an automated voice and they're not having any actor, anybody kind of read that, because we've had kind of a legacy of just finding in what ways we can contribute with art, or to just make it accessible for people. Not everyone can sit there and read a whole article and whatever. Sometimes you just need the audiobook version, which is perfect, and that's where we come in. And I think there is a kind of important thing there to have somebody, again, performance point, obviously I want a good performance, I want something that engages people, I want something that I care about the outcome, I care about audiences really feeling connected to the books or the articles or blogs that they love the most and want to hear. And I don't want to take that away from people that have built a living or want to build a living kind of expressing themselves in their art in that way. I think there's just certain things that everybody needs to have the space to kind of put their passion where their work is, if they so please, and kind of making an honest living out of that. I think that's something that holds people down. I think passion over what you do, whatever it is, it doesn't have to be art, kind of keeps people away from feeling like they live, like a machine in corporate America or something, So I don't think, in my opinion, I try to not make myself be like, oh my God, we're all going to be replaced by robots. Like, that's not the point. But I think, again, it's striking that balance between how does technology help art? How does art find its space with technology? How do we include people? How do we make this accessible? And kind of bridge that gap in a way that isn't all consuming of one or the other.
Right. It's like you hear things like, well, AI, it could replace a lot of the mundane stuff that people don't want to do, and I kind of like that idea. Let's use our creative skills and our knowledge and our human abilities to do something bigger and not just do a mundane task over and over again. So I would love to hear, like, for each of you, what would your perfect AI tool look like? And anyone
Oof.
can go first.
That's such a hard one.
Yeah, I immediately thought of like my time in college. I think just having something that helps you out study wise it is kind of fantastic to me, but I'm still kind of finding out really what that would be, just because especially with, I think, kind of, we're US centric really here, so I'm mainly speaking of like the numbers that you would see here, or the kind of current situation where it's like, I don't think we need things that make, I think, education too overly easy, and that does it for you. But it's that balance of like, if I have like a multiple page dissertation and I have a blank page in front of me and I have all of my thoughts in one brain, it'd be nice to just have something on paper, to have a little bit of a guideline, to kind of organize my thoughts better, which already does, a lot of it does a good job at doing that. But I think something that's a little bit more, especially for ADHD, it's kind of like, if anything helps me kind of grab everything and put it into a nice little list where I can see it, and I can do everything else, I accept that.
I love that. And, maybe this will make us rethink the education system. Like, if all of this knowledge is available, then what should we spend our time learning? Do we spend our time like in deeper thoughts and philosophical things, and how to be creative? Maybe I hope this is like a good thing to kind of reshift instead of the rote, redundant stuff, get into deeper understanding of our life and world. How about you, Alex?
I think for me, again, I think just the perfect AI tool for myself would be something that helps me to remove all of the like more mundane and repetitive things in my like daily workflow. So I mean, like for myself, I do a lot of like outreach, because I'm always having different ideas, and I'm just like, okay, you know what, it'd be really cool if my client was able to like go to like Bora Bora, or Ibiza, and host like a really cool experience like on a yacht, or is it a situation where we can like go somewhere and build like a floating stage and get like 10 boats like all tied up together, and kind of like host like a cool event like on the ocean, So I kind of just like come up with like different ideas that I think makes sense. So I would love a tool that I can be like, this is my idea, figure it out with the like research, find like, I'm gonna just like give you like the names of like 10 different companies that I think would be interested in this like concept, find the best contact information for anyone at these companies. Also give me a suggestion, maybe like, another 10, that I might not even be aware of myself, but like they would kind of also still fit within that same circle. So you do all the stuff that I hate having to like go find the contact, find the phone number, find their like email address, and then just like come back to me with a report. We can generate the email, and then you send the email out to everyone, and then just kind of like manage responses as they like come in. So manage like the emails going out, the emails going in. Give me a summary of, okay, hey, like today's finished up. I sent like these 10 emails. Of these 10, 2 responded, 8 haven't. I'm gonna follow up in like 2 days. So I think for me personally, someone like that would be incredible, because because I'd be able to maximize my creativity and remove all the like hours that I spend, like day by day trying to hunt down people's contact information and so on. So for me personally, I think that is like the ideal tool as far as AI would be concerned.
Yeah, it's like dealing with helping with all the logistical issues
Mhm.
and helping to streamline that so you can focus on the more creative aspects of it. And
Yeah. Mhm.
and by the way, I am 100% on board with that concert in the boats in the lagoon of
Yeah.
Bora Bora. I'm
Yeah.
I'm there. Count me in.
Thank you. Yeah, 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 yeah. And and I think also, as everyone kind of begins having more and more conversations, I think that while we kind of like the general concept of having AI do everything for you, I think you know uh, everyone's online responses, just in like general conversations, that AI should be able to again like do all of these like mundane tasks, so that you are able to focus on, like the overall like creative aspect, of whatever your field, is, like whether it's like medicine or law or art, or music or whatever the case is. You want someone to just remove all the stressful things that we kind of hate doing, and that also takes away so much time that could be devoted towards like coming up with new ideas.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Lilimar and so you're now offering voiceover coaching sessions. Is that right? So I'd love to talk to you more about that and like how people can engage with you and sign up for your classes. But like as an actor, once in a while I get auditions for a voiceover project. And I just feel so inept because I have to like go into my closet, like where the sound is good. And I was on a commercial shoot a couple of months ago with a voiceover shoot. There was someone that was a voiceover actor, and she was telling me about all the equipment that she has, like the equalizer and the this and the mics and the this. And she goes, yeah, you can't really get started unless you have all this stuff. So please share your knowledge with us.
Uh, Gladly. I feel you on the closet thing. I have done many dubbing jobs from the comfort of my closet, especially during pandemic. So I fully get you there. It's one of those things where like even it looks very intimidating, I think, because obviously coming into a space where you're just the creative, or the human side of it, the character breakdown side of it, the performance. But when you start talking about mics and the prompters and ADR and all this other stuff, some people are just like, what? um and I think we do come from a space where we would just show up to collaborate with our team in a studio where there are sound engineers, and we still have them, but you would just be there and you do what you got to do and they do what they're best at. And I think after pandemic it really has become this all hands on deck thing, and we become a lot more involved. Obviously, there's always been full-time voiceover actors that have their own at-home studio. They know exactly what to do, but that wasn't really, I want to say, the norm for everybody else. That's kind of now coming in and learning the craft. But for again, I stumbled upon it. I was the first person to say, I can't teach this stuff. I'm just the actor. I don't know how to get my years of experience into a paragraph. I don't know how to do that. And it was just doing it and kind of facing the fear and kind of working with mainly kids, and now I started opening it up a lot to adults, and just seeing how they respond. It became this thing of like not only helping people kind of understand the overwhelming tech stuff, which, by the way, it really is a step-by-step thing. It's not too much. You get a nice mic. You learn that, hey, don't do it in an echoey place like your bathroom or like a really big living room or a patio. Just, put some fur coats or like blankets in a small room, and that can help you out. And that goes a long way. Get a nice podcast mic. It doesn't have to be a $3,000 Manly. And then it's just your little kit. So it's I want to kind of take the fear away from that, but the other side was really learning like the amount of stuff that people feel so scared to do. Like people are scared to scream or laugh, like cackle, and it takes a lot to get it out of them, which is so interesting because we just edit ourselves on the daily as we're going through life. But acting does that in general. But I think the best thing I've learned was just doing it and helping people kind of come into the booth. And so I do kind of a 50-50 thing. I do a thing called Voiceover Club, which is like, I work with the studio called Kim Houston Acting. And that's where you'd see the Voiceover Club, which is like, we'll send out one mock audition per week. So that ends up being 3, where you kind of get to learn the audition process and the sounds. And there's a whole other class that I don't do because I'm not the tech master. Again, I reiterate that multiple times. I am the actor. There's a whole other class to kind of guide you through that stuff. And then that's where we learn, okay, how do we break down a script? How do we figure out what this client wants? How many takes should I do? Whatever it is, how to send stuff, how to label your files, all that bunch of stuff. And then they kind of get together with me on a Zoom or like a group Zoom. We all see everybody. We hear everybody's audios. I give them notes. We try it out. We try new stuff kind of so that, they can get used to taking direction, because you will eventually do that with a director when you're working. And so we do that. And there's also like kind of random in-person workshops that I do if anybody's in Florida or South Florida in particular. We'll go to an actual booth where it's really exciting to have them, do all the stuff that we work on, but they get to be in there and see the mic in front of them and work at it and see kind of how everything works, all of the terminology that we use when we're on the booth. So that's always a really fun experience. And it's very comfortable. Okay. You can show up in your pajamas to work, and it's a very cozy space. And that's why I love what I do.
Wow, that is so exciting. I love it that you offer all of that. So, okay, let's see. And it does help to make it less intimidating. So Jack says he had to build a pillow fort for his mic because he doesn't have a booth. I love that, a pillow fort. Um, okay, so just a second here. Let's just go on to, let's try to get some questions. And let me go through the chat. I know there's been some questions here. I'll try to, Alex, why don't you, while I'm looking through the questions, why don't you introduce your project and how people can get in touch with you while I go through these?
No, of course. So basically, Gemini Projects, we are a brand partnership and talent management agency. As far as it goes on the management aspect of things, we work primarily, with influencers within the high end like fashion and then lifestyle sectors, like both male and female. And then again, for the partnerships end of things, we work with again a range of talent, in the electronic music space. And then we also work with a wide array of event brands. We work with like solid groups in Ibiza. We do some projects with Lightning in a Bottle at Coachella, a bunch of events, in Miami where I'm based, like Formula One, a few things during a few things during Art Basel. We're here, there, everywhere. If it's within the entertainment space, that's kind of where we thrive. So if anyone is interested, I would suggest going to our Instagram. It's at We Are Gemini Projects, and you can always shoot me an email. Our email address is linked to the Instagram. Our website is currently under construction, but the Insta essentially shows a pretty great overview of who we are and what we do.
So there is a question for Lilimar. What is your video game character?
If anybody is a Guilty Gear fan and knows that, I do the English voice for Giovanna on that. And then I have another video game project that we've been working on it for years now. And it's coming soon. So I can't say much on that one at all. But yeah, the main one that I always drag people to is Guilty Gear, and I'm Giovanna on that one.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so Jack's saying hopefully we get to hear Lilimar in anime, still manifesting for that. Let's see, I love this one, how to get Marcella and Lilimar in a horror film in the future. Yeah, let's do it.
Absolutely. I'm now working more in that space. So when you said that you worked in horror film, I was like, that's my girl.
It's funny. I love making horror films. I'm not that crazy about watching them.
There you go.
So, Lilimar, do you see yourself licensing your voice for AI?
I don't know if I don't know. I think it's one of those things that before I ever were to make a decision on it, it's like, I'm such a person that, like, before I ever say like concrete yes or no to something, I would like to feel that I've really understood it, know what I'm saying yes or no to. But I think so far I've loved my trajectory and my experience as a voice actor. I love doing everything myself. I'm just that kind of person. I like being in the moment, learning what I'll learn from that moment, learning from my mistakes, and kind of being in the room with mentors or with students. So I don't know if that's something I particularly would do, just because, like, my voice is my tool and it's my expression. So, but we'll see. I think I'm still open to seeing how art and tech come together. But yeah, I think for now I'm very much like very scared owner, like possessive of my voice, I guess.
Okay, and so very quickly, Alex, how is it working with the royal family?
They're great, honestly. I mean, I've worked with them now for this is 2025. So I've worked with them now for over the past like 3 years. Amazing family. Everyone is, like a gem, to be honest. Like very, very sweet people. And I think it's just great. Like the vision for the country that everyone has, and how devoted that they all are towards like bringing that dream to life. I mean, like love Qatar. Honestly, they've done such great things with the country.
So just to close up here, so Supra gives people the opportunity to, as I mentioned, create their digital twin. People can interact with your digital twin. If you create your own avatar with Supra, they can interact with you 24/7. You don't have to be there. And it's just a great opportunity for creative people to engage with their audience. Like, there's fans of you guys that want to interact with you. They can go to your digital twin if you're not available to respond to them. And it uses your own content. So you can build your avatar using your own content. And that's how it becomes your digital twin that can interact with the rest of the world. And so Super does these sessions to kind of bring awareness to the ability to create and do your own thing. And it kind of, to me, kind of brings the human element to AI, and it allows our opportunity to build through that. So I just want to thank everybody for joining today. Thank you for the comments. We didn't get to all of them. Thank you, Lilimar and Alex, for joining us and sharing your stories. This was amazing. I can't wait to see what you guys have to do in the future.
Thank you, Marcella.
Yes, it was a pleasure.
I can't wait to see your films in the future.
Yes. So we'll follow each other on Instagram and just keep track of what we're all doing. Let's see. I think that we are done here. There's a note from Pravina, the founder of Supra, that she's sharing a Newsweek article regarding how to secure your digital rights, and that's very pertinent to what we're talking about now. All right, everybody, follow Lilimar and Alex, and hopefully we will see you in another creator live session with Supra. I hope you have a wonderful day, and good luck, Lilimar, with your appointment.
Oh, thank you guys. Thank you for bearing with me and the car. But thank you, everybody.
Okay, everyone. All the best. Bye-bye. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.